welcome Foods 20 to yet another episode of your technologically adept foods teacher. Here today with, we're going to be doing fresh pasta making as individuals. So you're going to see in your kitchens that Mrs. Strada was kind enough to add an additional pantry item to our COVID pantry called 00 flour. This flour is only for your pasta today. It's for pasta. It is extremely high gluten flour, and that's why we use it for pasta. It's very, very finely ground. If you look at it, you'll see that it's a very fine consistency, but when you touch it, you can feel that it's somewhat mealy. It's very strong flour, right? Because think about when you put pasta into water, what happens? It wants to break down, right? So you need a very strong flour to withstand the boiling process, okay? Cooking time for a fresh pasta is going to be far shorter than something you would buy from the store, probably 3 to 4 minutes tops. And there's tons of different shapes you guys can do. So I'm going to demo the dough of the pasta. Each person in this class has been given these ingredients for the recipe that you have here called homemade pasta with a rosé sauce. So a rosé sauce is like a creamy tomato sauce. So in here we've got garlic, onion. This is your Parmesan, which you can top your pasta with. And then we've got spinach, we've got diced tomatoes, chicken broth, and what else did I put in here? And cream cheese as a part of your sauce. Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. Cream cheese in here as well. Okay, so as a part of your sauce. I know that there's cream needed at the end to add to the end of your sauce. I will come and deliver that. I didn't want to put it in here because of the tomatoes. They would curdle the cream, and I wouldn't want that for you guys. I've added an additional pantry item today. This is olive oil, so that's why there's such a small amount in there. This is for making your pasta because I got sick of ruining my clothing. So you're gonna have oil bottles now, but keep in mind, one person does the pasta first. We sanitize the outside of each bottle, the handle of each pasta machine before another person can touch this bottle, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm gonna make my pasta here, and I'm gonna make it the old school way. We just watched a master class video of pasta making. Now, there are machines you can make a pasta in a food processor. If it's strong enough, you just have to keep in mind, like, the engine of a food processor has to be pretty strong because this flour is very dense, as we saw in the video. Very, very firm dough. The firmest dough that we will have made thus far in this class. He used some tiny little counter scrapers. I'm going to use a fork to bring things together here. So it tells me that I'm going to use, so in here I've got my flour, so my 00 flour. You can, actually I found this at Superstore. Italian Center has all different versions of 00 flour. They also have pizza dough flour specifically for these purposes. So into the middle of this, so like a well, like you do with your mashed potatoes at Christmas time, you make a well in your flour, right? So I've got my nice well, you guys can see that. Into my well, I'm going to put 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks because I have a doubled amount here. So I'm gonna do this. 1 whole egg. Now we're doing this per person, so you really get the hands-on experience of making your own pasta, which can actually be fun, and I've done it with my own children. Now you want 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks, or sorry, 1 egg and 1 egg yolk, which means you're gonna need 2 eggs, and you will see that I have hand delivered each of you 2 eggs. So I have a nice clean egg yolk, and usually that's how I separate eggs, with clean hands, because I get all of the white off and I know that my yolk is whole, and I know that my white is whole should I be using it, which I'm not today. Now, honestly, making pasta, you want to pick good eggs. Like I go to Sylvan Star Farm to get my eggs, which is a really good producer, and you can tell good eggs by the brightness of the yolk. Kind of cheap eggs sometimes have a very dull yolk, but these are decently bright. But organic eggs, like farm eggs, are so nice for doing things to make a nice, rich, yellow pasta dough. All right, so I'm gonna just mix these together a bit. Nice and yellow, right? Okay, I'm gonna pour my eggs in the middle. Try to keep it in the middle. All right, I have a little bit, a small amount of some sea salt added here to my little pre-measured and added. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of it up on there. And then the other thing is it says 10 mils of olive oil. Yeah, ish. Okay, this is olive oil. I got a light flavored olive oil. That's why I just put this much, because later I'm gonna put canola oil, and olive oil's a lot more expensive. So you just wanna try to keep it together. So you kind of move your fork around to kind of work from the bottom to the inside. I think that's why he used those little paddles in the demo. That's fine. You guys should have counter scrapers. If you don't, just use a leveler to kind of scrape down your counters, because we are going to end up with like a little bit of a mess. We're doing this on counters, so making sure our counters are sanitized and clean after is going to be really important. You kind of want to work it together. I sanitized my counter and washed it perfectly clean before I started this. Now, some of my students in the past have said, well, Miss Kay, what if we just use all-purpose flour? All-purpose flour causes, when you boil the pasta, it really causes the water to foam up. So that's another thing that you're gonna have ready. You're gonna have a medium pot, 3/4 filled with water, whatever size the pot is. It needs to be 3/4 full to give the pasta a lot of room to move. So you should always have 7 times the amount of water to pasta. Okay, so you want to get that going. So it kind of looks like fine little curds, but now we kind of want to work it together and kind of knead it so that it comes together to make a really firm dough. You don't want to over wet this dough, but it is going to stick to your hand. It's going to be kind of a mess. But you can see that it's a nice bright yellow. All right, what was I saying about water? 7 times the amount of water to pasta. Also, you want to put a little drop of oil. It's really to break the surface tension of the water. You okay, honey? Break the surface tension of the water. It's nothing to do with sticking or anything like that. Here, I'm just going to bring this together with a little bit of oil. Just some oil to bring it together, kind of stick my pieces together here. Now, I've seen chefs do this really quick, and it was nice, that he had an electric pasta roller. Must be nice to have money. But here, we're gonna do it the old school way with a hand crank pasta roller. They're not expensive. You can get them from many places. The Italian Center sells them. They're not overly expensive. Now, we're really kneading this dough. Now, this is a high gluten dough made of durum semolina, which is a special flour made for pasta that's ground down really fine into like a silky powder. But we still, since we are kneading a dough, whether it be yeast dough or not, we need to give this dough time to rest. So you're gonna make your dough, then you're gonna let it rest. Then I'm gonna tag on another video that goes with this one on putting the pasta through the machine, okay? All right, I'm gonna stop right there, and then I'm gonna come back once I actually put my pasta through the machine.